What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Lifestyle of Eden podcast. Today, we're going to talk on a very popular subject and a very much needed subject, especially today, which is weight loss resistance. And when we say weight loss resistance, we're talking about, like, for example, insulin resistance. Your body is not able to receive the things that you're needing to get through insulin, like nutrients into the cells and so forth. Weight loss resistance is your body is resisting from losing weight. Many people, they may be eating the right things, they may be working out, they may be doing all these different things, but they're not seeing the results. In fact, I just had a client sign up with me this past week. Long story short, she has gut health issues, leaky gut, and some other things that we're going to take care of. But nevertheless, she said to me, and I've known this woman for years. She works out, she eats right, she's completely regimented. She's like, honestly, very much like me. And she's been saying, Nick, I'm not getting the results that I used to. I'm not getting the results of basically the work that I'm putting in. And I said, okay, well, we figured out what's going on. She's got a leaky gut. She's very inflamed. She's insulin resistant, and so forth. So anyway, we're going to talk about insulin resistance because there's many of you, whether you are menopausal or you're in your 40s or of some nature, or you're a little bit older, or you're even younger. Like for me, I just turned 30 this week. You could be in your 20s or even 30s, and yet you're having such a hard time losing weight, which should not be the case, especially at such a young age. But quite frankly, it shouldn't be hard at any age. I don't care if you're 40, if you're 50, if you're 60, if you're 70. Do not come under the nonsense Western thought. Notice I said Western because it's not in the East. The Western thought of, oh, I'm just older, I'm putting on fat, it's okay, and accepting that. God willing, however long the Lord allows me to be on the earth, whether I'm 80, 90, 100 years old, I plan on being in phenomenal shape. Now, somebody might say, Nick, that's a little ignorant. It's easy to say that when you're in your 30s. That's fine. But this is a lifestyle for me. And I still want to be running with my grandkids, my great-grandkids, and feeling good and looking good. And I know the ways to do that, especially because I know people that are in their 80s and 90s that are water skiing, that are running, that are doing all these different things. But a lot of times we don't see this in the States. So let's talk today about weight loss resistance. We're going to go into some main reasons. I have about 3 or 4 reasons that are generally, it's not always the only reasons, but it's generally the top reasons that I see for weight loss resistance. And the first one is the obvious. That's what I always like to do with clients. If they're having a hard time losing weight, like I have one client, she has PCOS, and we've greatly done so much healing with her PCOS. She hasn't had a cycle in like 15 years. And she's been with me for 2 months. Both months, she's had cycles. But she's having a little bit of weight loss resistance. And so I said, hey, this is what I think is going on, and this is what I think is going on. But let's knock out the obvious and get the blood work and see. Well, turns out it was exactly what I said it was. And so let's start with knocking out the obvious when it comes to weight loss resistance. The first one is very simple, and it has to simply do with bad food choices or not the right diet. Okay, many people think that they're eating right, but they're cooking in oil and using all these different oils and stuff. And it's not that extra virgin olive oil is a bad thing, but it's that when you're cooking in it, you don't really realize how many calories. You're putting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of calories a week upon your food because you're cooking with it and you don't even realize how much you're cooking with. Or they're using butter, or they're using all these things that you can use other alternatives for that are completely calorie free. Or you're just not eating the right things. You're snacking, you're eating that chocolate bar at night and you think that, oh, well, no, I ate clean all day. That's not the way it works. Okay, so the simple and obvious first one is just you're making bad food choices and you're not on the right diet. Listen, if dieting was so easy, and not in the concept of doing it, but in knowing what to eat and how to eat it and the timing of these different foods and so forth, if that was so easy, everybody would be doing it and everybody would look good and I would be out of business. But it's not the case. Okay, so you have to respect the profession and understand that you probably need a nutritionist, somebody that's experienced that can balance your nutrition, your vitamin supplementation and amino acid protocols, your workout schedule, your cardio layouts, your blood work, all these different things. So I recommend coming under a professional. Knock out the easy work, which is basically thinking about it and stressing about it, into where you eat something one day and you go, oh, I'm not seeing the results, I'm going to change it the next day. And you just kind of go up and down, up and down. Find somebody that's going to write you the plan, and all you got to do is follow it. All you got to do is execute. Let your mind have peace and no anxiety, and just do that. The second easiest thing that I always tell people, which for example was like with my PCOS client just recently, I wanted to get her blood work done because I said, I guarantee you your testosterone is low and your insulin is high. Sure enough, she got her blood work done. Her testosterone was low, her estrogen was high, and her insulin was high. So if you have, and I just had another client, I mean, this is like it's like a rampage, it's crazy. I literally just had another client today call me, send me her blood work, same thing. A couple weeks ago, one of my clients in Florida, same thing. We were working together for the first couple weeks, and all my clients get me their blood work when we first start. Now you can't even start with me without giving me your blood work. But with him, because he was an old client, I let him start with me, and I just said, hey, go get your blood work done within the first few weeks. So the first few weeks, his body was being very stubborn. And I've worked with this guy before. We've gotten him shredded. And his body was being very stubborn. So I told him, I said, hey, your body's being super stubborn right now. I go, I can also see the way your muscular or your musculature is. You're very soft. And it's not because you don't have muscle. Your body is just soft. It's not full. The muscle bellies themselves are not popping out and full. And I said, I guarantee you have low testosterone. Sure enough, this guy goes and gets his testosterone. It's in the 400s. We don't want a man's testosterone anything lower than 900. We want it 900 to 1100 for sure. Doctors that don't even know anything of what they're doing when it comes to hormones, they'll tell you, oh no, 400 or 500 is fine. No, it's not. You can hardly get an erection for a long time having your testosterone at that. It's ridiculous. You're going to be tired all the time. You're going to be craving food. You're going to be weak in the gym. You're not going to be as manly. All these different things. You need your testosterone as a man between 900 and 1100. No questions asked. I don't care what any of the doctors say. Hormone specialists and nurse practitioners know more than the doctors know in this concept. But you've got to get your hormones checked. And so all my clients, a minimum of twice a year, they get their blood work done. If we're working with something different, like a gut protocol or whatever, I might have them do it every quarter. But regardless, we're staying on top of the blood work. I'm constantly seeing where the hormones are at. And this is the best way, or this is one of the easiest ways to not lose weight. If you don't have good testosterone, whether you're a male or a female, your insulin is high and you're insulin resistant, your estrogen's too high, you're holding weight, you're able to put on body fat easier, all of these different things, then you're not going to be putting on the muscle and losing the fat that we need you to lose. So the first two things are simply the obvious of bad food choices. You need to get on the right diet. And the second thing is hormones. You need to have somebody that's able to look over your blood work. Like I said, I read blood work. All my clients send me their blood work. I have people that are not even my clients or other coaches who don't know how to read blood work like I do, and they'll send me their stuff to consult with me of what they should be doing with their clients and so forth. The third thing right now is the most common. It's the most common right now. I honestly, well actually it's between this and hormones. Hormones is like 1 out of 2 people right now, at least, maybe more. It might even be like 75%. This one right here is about 1 out of 2 people, and it's gut health issues. Okay, if you have a gut health issue, especially whether it's leaky gut, H. pylori, SIBO, all of these different things, regardless of what it is, but especially leaky gut, which leaky gut is like a precursor to all these other things. But what's going to happen is that your body is going to have extreme inflammation. And you're going to end up getting, if you don't take care of it, an IMID, an immune-mediated inflammatory disease, because you're going to be so inflamed that your body is going to detect an issue and your immune system is going to send out inflammation and fight against itself. This is where we get autoimmune disorders, but this is going to be on another podcast for IMIDs, so I'm not going to go deep into that. But gut health issues, if you're inflamed, what's going to happen is the inflammation is going to lead to insulin resistance every single time. 10 out of 10 times, if you're inflamed, especially if it's chronic, and you allow it to happen long enough, your body is going to have high insulin. When you have high insulin, you're not insulin sensitive. So you're just going to have sugar and different things running through your blood, undigested and metabolized properly. Your fat metabolism is going to be off. Everything is going to be off. And you're going to start putting on weight drastically. Not only are you not going to lose weight, you're going to put on weight. And here's the thing. When you have a gut health issue, one of the worst things you can do is train intensely. Because training intensely, even though it's a phenomenal thing, in fact, it's one of the best ways, not just regular cardio, HIIT cardio and sprints. It's one of the top 5 ways that you actually raise HDL, which is good cholesterol. And it's the number 1 way for burning fat and putting on muscle. Such as you look at a long distance runner, look at a jogger. They're skinny fat. right? Or skinny at best, but they're very thin, right? Look at a sprinter. They're jacked. They have extreme muscle. They're shredded. This is because the HIIT training does a different type of workout with your body. But the worst thing that you can do when you have gut health issues is intense cardios and all these different things. So the people that are having weight loss resistance are doing more and more intense cardio, and what you're doing is you're actually doing more damage to your gut microbiome. A compromised gut microbiome cannot have intense training. So when my clients come to me with gut issues, and we have to go through a protocol for about 8 to 12 weeks, sometimes 16 weeks, depending on the situation, I move back cardio completely. The only thing that you can do with cardio with me is 10,000 steps a day. I just want you to get steps in. That's it. No cardio. In fact, you're only going to be training in the gym with weights like 3 times a week, and you're not even going to failure. The reason being is because working out causes inflammation. It causes micro tears, which is a good thing when you're healthy. When you're not healthy and your body's already inflamed, we're trying to do everything we can to simply remove inflammation so that we can allow your immune system to temper down. That's the whole goal, is we have to quiet down your immune system. But the immune system is struck up because it's detecting something in the body. So we have to fix the leaky gut. We've got to remove the H. pylori. We've got to remove the SIBO. We've got to increase Akkermansia mucin, which is a very vital probiotic in your large intestine. You know, all of these different things is stuff that we have to attack when you have gut health issues. But people go down this spiral where they're not losing weight, so they eat even less, they work out even harder. Meanwhile, doing the working out harder, you're exacerbating your gut health issues. So you're just going in this vicious cycle until you get fixed up. This ends up going on for 6 months, a year, 2 years. I had a client just come to me. She just signed up with me this month. And she has been going through this for 10 years. I have had to tell her multiple times now, hey, you've been going through this for 10 years, and she has a terrible case of this. Terrible gut health issue. And I said, listen, I can't predict the future on this, but all I'm going to say to you is mentally prepare to be with me fixing this for the next 6 to 12 months. This did not happen in a day. This happened over the last 10 years. It's been about 12 years. So your situation is very rough, it's very tough on you, and it's going to take some time to dig out. I think in the next 6 weeks we're going to make tremendous improvements. But to completely seal up everything, it could take 6 months. It might only take 3 months. We'll see. But nevertheless, you've got to be patient with it. So the gut health issues are a major reason for your weight loss resistance. And the problem is doctors don't know how to fix the gut because you can't do it with medication, especially leaky gut. Gastroenterologists don't know what to do. I've met with multiple of them, and I've had multiple clients come to me because their gastroenterologist can't fix it. Nurse practitioners, all these people can't do it. It is such a new thing. There is only 2 other people that I actually know that I would send anybody that I know to them. I'm that confident in their work and their knowledge. In fact, one of them is one who teaches me on a lot of things. So it's a market that is very limited in knowledge, especially in expansive and comprehensive knowledge on the subject, but it's very, very needed. So the first 3 things are simply bad food choices, the obvious things, bad food choices, not being on the right diet, hormones in your blood work, and then gut health, which gut health is going to affect your hormones. A lot of people have hormone issues because they have gut health issues, okay? And then the fourth one is the way I like to explain the metabolism. And this happens, basically you have exercise-induced weight loss resistance. And this happens a little bit more in competitors. Okay, whenever you're training really hard, you're training for hours a day, a lot of cardio, and the food gets really low, your body's going to start to freak out a little bit. And the way I explain this is kind of with, like, for example, or actually I'll explain it first. So the metabolism. How do I explain the metabolism? Because people always say, oh, I need to do no carbs, the keto diet. It's the worst diet you can do. Okay, if you're 350 pounds and we got to drop 50 pounds off of your heart really quick, yeah, we can go on keto. Other than that, keto is the worst diet you can do. It's the most unhealthy diet. I'll stand very firm on that. I'm not going to be moved from it. And the science is clear. The evidence is clear. You get very soft. You get very flabby. These people lose 30 pounds in 6 weeks and they don't lose any more weight. They have no definition. Their muscles aren't popping. It's the worst diet. Just go and diet. It's too easy, and people like to do that because they don't want to hire a nutritionist. And then the nutritionists that are doing that, I just don't even have anything to say about it. But with the metabolism, the way I explain carbohydrates is this: carbohydrates is what's going to rev up your metabolism. Okay, and so picture your metabolism being like a fire. Create a fire in your backyard in the fire pit. What are you throwing into the fire to make it continue? You're throwing wood continually in the fire. It's the same thing. In order to make that fire grow, you got to throw more wood in it. Same thing with your metabolism. In order to make your metabolism grow and move, you've got to throw more wood in the fire. You've got to throw more carbohydrates. You've got to feed the metabolism. What happens if you stop feeding that fire wood? The fire goes out. It does what we call stalling out the metabolism if you stop feeding it the carbohydrates. Then what happens? If a fire goes out and then you feed it wood, what happens? The wood just sits there and it piles up because the fire went out. The same thing is with the metabolism. Many people have a very slow metabolism because they have messed things up with their dieting over the years, or they've eaten very bad foods over the course of time, and it's damaged their metabolism. So now when they feed themselves these foods, it's not burning, and it's just sitting there and accumulating and turning into fat, making you lethargic, all of these different things. You've got to feed the metabolism in a very smart manner to where you're able to burn fat, gain muscle, but continue revving the metabolism in such a way like a furnace that you're starting to manipulate the body. And so, one of the things that I just did with my clients in Denver, I had him purposely on a little bit of low food for about 2 weeks, and then I wanted to refeed him. Now, you would think, okay, when you do the low food, you're really going to lose weight. He did. He lost about 2 or 3 pounds during those 2 weeks. But then I told him, I said, hey, I'm about to do a refeed with you, and your body is just going to drop weight. And so what I did was, in the morning, I gave him 2 cups of oatmeal. Now, I don't know if you've ever eaten 2 cups of oatmeal. That's a lot of food. 2 cups of oatmeal. I fed him 2 cups of oatmeal in the morning, and at night before bed, I fed him 2 more cups of oatmeal. He woke up 4 pounds lighter. In one night, he went to sleep and woke up 4 pounds lighter. And it was because I was timing everything perfectly. And whenever I threw the carbs in there, his body was already depleted. His glycogen levels were low. And so I threw the carbs in there, refilled the glycogen levels right before a leg day where he was just going to go reburn them anyway. But I burned his metabolism like a furnace, and he burned all that food during his workout. Then what happens? He just drops in weight. He calls me the next day. I'll never forget. He calls me, and then his parents call me. They go, dude, how did he lose 4 pounds in one night? I actually have a story where I lost 7 pounds in one night. When I was getting ready for Mr. Texas back in 2016, I was about 3 weeks out of my show. And I was very depleted, and my coach told me, hey, Nick, no training this weekend. I just want you to rest, and I want you to go refeed. I went and refed on a Saturday night. I woke up the next morning 7 pounds lighter. So food is not the enemy. You've got to learn how to work with food. It's how it's how our bodies move. It's how our bodies grow. It's how our bodies burn fat and use it for fuel. So you've just got to learn how to do it, putting the right fuel in your body at the right time. And when you start to do all these things, weight loss resistance is not going to be an issue anymore. But we have to check all these different boxes, and sometimes this can take some time. Somebody will come to me and they want to, get stuff like that. Well, I've got to check all these boxes. I've got to check the ins and outs of what's going on, the lifestyle. I've got to see your metabolism. Fixing your metabolism does not come easy. Okay, sure, depending on how it is, we might be able to fix it in 2 weeks. I've actually fixed competitors' metabolisms in less than a week. It took me about 7 days of really moving stuff up and down and doing this, that, and the other, but we fixed it. Other people, it can take weeks. Other people, it can take months, because when you mess up the metabolism and you really start dropping food and doing these different things, you also start destroying hormones, which goes back to our second point. So when you start destroying the hormones, now I have to start leveling out your hormones. I have a client right now that he's lost like 45 pounds in the last couple months, and in the last 6 weeks, he's lost almost 30 of that. So I just told him, I said, hey, we're going to go another 2 to 4 weeks. I got to see how things go. But after these 2 to 4 weeks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to up your food a lot for about 3 weeks. I want to make sure we keep your hormones restored, we keep your metabolism high, and then I'm just going to drop your food back down again, and you're just going to start burning fat. So you've got to do these different things with the body. It's a process, it's a journey, and it's a really cool journey to learn about these things with nutrition. So if you're having weight loss resistance, I encourage you to find somebody, a professional that can really work with you, that knows all of these different things, that can read your blood work, that can read your GI maps, that knows about the hormones, that knows all about the different foods and the things that you need. And honestly, I think some of the best ones are the ones that have been on stage and the ones that have been successful on stage. There's many people that have been on stage, but they haven't been successful. They haven't looked good. They haven't truly gotten down to 2% body fat or any of these different things. So find somebody who's kind of been all around the business, but not just a meathead. Find somebody that's intelligent with blood work, that's intelligent with the gut microbiome, with vitamin supplementation and amino acid protocols, your cardios, all these different things. And if you do this, especially if you're in the situation of menopause and all these different things, you need somebody that can read blood work. None of it's impossible. I don't care what age you're at. The reason it gets harder as you get older, for women because of menopause, but after that, whenever you get older, the testosterone starts to drop. Well, we're not supposed to just live with that. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to live with it. No. Go get TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, using bioidentical testosterone, not synthetic. Bioidentical is available now. And get your testosterone levels back and live a rejuvenated life with your spouse when it comes to sexual function, when it comes to energy, when it comes to focus, when it comes to your results in the gym. All of these different things. Don't accept, I'm 50 years old now, I just got to live the next 40 years of my life miserable. That's not the case. So weight loss resistance can be a mystery for some, but if you start to look at all these different things, it becomes very clear, plain as day, and we can take care of the situation. So I hope this kind of helps. If you've been struggling with weight loss resistance, stay tuned for the next episode.
Awesome.